When I woke up, I was at a dining room table. My knife was gone, and when I looked up, I saw people sitting at the table. It was my parents, Jeff's parents, his brother Lou, and my friends. They were all dead, with smiles carved into their faces and huge cavities in their chests. The smell was unbearable. It's indescribable, lowercase. Unlike anything I have ever smelled before, it was the smell of death. I tried to scream, but I had a gag in my mouth and I was tied to a chair. I looked around the room in disbelief. Tears were welling up in my eyes, and I don't care. Look who's finally awake! I turned and looked beside me. Jeff was there. I'm not used like there's so many sentences with like unbearable amounts of detail, where it's like tears were welling up in my eyes, and I just when I see a short simple sentence like Jeff was there, I freaking have an aneurysm every time I read stuff in this story. I tried screaming, but the gag was in the way. Suddenly he was beside with knife against my throat. S-H-H-H-H-H-H-H. Shush, shush, shush. It's not polite to scream at friends. It began sliding the blade across my face, constantly tracing invisible lines through the corners. I don't care. Now, don't be rude. You insulted everybody by not looking at their pretty faces. Hey! I looked back at the table, looking at everyone with their faces carved into smiles, and some of their chests still bleeding fresh blood. Hot tears began running down my face, and I began to sob. Oh, what's wrong? Jeff purred. He's a cat now. Are you upset that you don't look beautiful like them? I looked at him. I'm sorry, I always burp. I looked at him, trying to understand what he said. But I looked away when I saw his face again and looked back to the table. Don't worry, I'll make you look beautiful too. What you say? He then slid the knife under the gag and cut it out. I spat out the gag and looked him straight in the eyes. Trying to hold his gaze, he tilted his head to the side and looked back at me. Then I shut my eyes and looked away from him. Obviously, you shut your eyes. Idiot. Then I muttered darkly, Go fuck yourself. Then I turned to look at him again. You joker reject. Oh! 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 Oh my god! Oh! Oh! Trickshot, are you recording? Oh! Oh my god! That is like the best roast in any creepypasta. I don't. It's stupid! He just laughed in my face. I preferred it when he just smiled. You're even funnier than I thought! He came closer to me. I looked away again, feeling his breath against my skin. Friends do, capital Friends, favors, right? Well, I'm going to do a favor for you. Oh God, no! I'm getting flashbacks to the fan fictions. Oh no! Oh God! I felt him let go of the back of my head, and when I looked back, he was out of the room. I looked back at the table once more, taking it all in. Fresh tears started to come down my face. As I remembered my family and friends who were alive only a few hours ago. Yes, because your friends were totally useful in this story. It's not like they appeared in only one part and I just decided not to I don't care. We didn't give a shit about them and no one does. No one gives a shit about your stupid story. Delete it. I remembered my family and friends who were only alive a few hours ago. I was still crying when Jeff came back. Don't cry, he said. It'll all be over soon. I looked down at him and saw... It'll be over soon. I'm kidding. I looked down at him and saw he was holding a jug of bleach and a can of gas. Well, at least it isn't vodka and a can of bleach. Idiot! My eyes widened and I looked back at him. I didn't have any alcohol, so this will have to do. He then began to douse me in bleach and gasoline. We had better hurry, Jane. I've already called the firemen. Why? You're so stupid! Then he held up a single match, new paragraph, lit it, new paragraph, then threw it at me. That should have been one sentence. Alright? Not 3 paragraphs. Learn to write! The flames erupted as soon as the match came into contact. Blah, 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 blah. Heat invading every pore of my body, blood evaporating in its veins. So you should be dead. As my bones becoming charred and brittle. Double dead. Before I blacked out, I heard Jeff laughing. "See you later, me friend. I hope you become as beautiful as I am." Then everything went black. When I woke up, I was sitting in a hospital bed, bandaged from head to toe. Everything was spinning, and it hurt to blink and breathe. Presumably, you're drunk. I looked around and saw an empty room. I groaned loudly, because my mouth was bandaged. Everything hurt. The nurse came in a few minutes later. "Jane, can you hear me?" I looked towards her. The room started spinning even more, because you're high on something. "Jane, have you lost Jackie?" Oh, wait. "I don't know how to say this, but your family died in a fire. I'm sorry." Presumably, she didn't see the cavities and the goddamn smiles carved into the faces. It's a murder. And that's how to freaking say that. Like, "Oh, hey, Jane, good morning. Oh, your family died. So that's news. It isn't good news, but hey, it's news." Fucking CNN. Yeah, it wasn't fake news this time. Don't listen to Donald Trump. He's an idiot. These goddamn liberals. Tears started falling down my face again. I sobbed. "No, honey. Don't cry. You won't be able to breathe if you do." I couldn't stop. "It's time to stop!" "Jane, I'm going to give you something. How long was I asleep?" I tried to speak. Almost 2 weeks. You were put in a medically induced coma in order for your body to heal. I'm the same nurse you saw the first time you woke up." "Give me a mirror," I said. "Jane, I don't think that's wit." "Get me a mirror." I felt the handle of a mirror get slipped in my hand. When I looked into the mirror, I dropped in onto the floor. Dropped in on the dinosaur. Yes, because the N and T are nowhere near each other on the keyboard. You should know this. You should learn to write. The shattering... come on. The letter H is between there. The shattering of the mirror didn't compare to the shattering of my realization. My skin was leathery and brown. I didn't have a single hair on my head, and the skin around my eyes were saggy. I looked almost as bad as Jeff. Hey, I just realized something. She's horribly sad. And Jeff is really happy. Her skin is brown, and he is white. I'd really hate to say this, but I think the author of this story might just slightly be just a little bit of a racist. I'm skipping shit. "Excuse me, I have a delivery from Miss Arkansas." "I'll take those." Jackie stood up and went to the doorway. I didn't want the delivery guy to look at me, so I stared at the wall in front of me. Someone certainly cares about you, Jane. It looks like the same person who sent you all these flowers got you a package, too. Oh, no. If this could get... I was thinking this couldn't get any worse. I was wrong. I looked around at her. She was holding a pink paper package tied with a brown string. I reached out and took it from her. The second I took that package from her, I knew something was wrong. Excuse me, but could I have something to eat? I asked as sweetly as possible. I just thought of a really, really bad joke. It's not as bad as it's not funny. I'm talking about it's really offensive. Alright, you ready for this? Excuse me, but could I have something to eat? Listen to her accent. Food is non-existent. That's so horrible. Of course, I'll get you some food right away. Jackie smiled back and then left the room. My hands shook as I grabbed the string and pulled it. The paper lightly bounced up and I saw something that turned my blood to ice. Then I died! I'm kidding. It was a white mask with black around the eyes and a black feminine smile. Yeah, unlike the masculine smiles you see. It also had a black lace covering the eye holes of the mask, so even though someone couldn't see my eyes, I could see them! There was also a long black dress with a turtleneck, black gloves, and a black wig with beautiful curls. Black, black, black. I'm not black. Along with all of these things, there was a bouquet of black roses and a sharp kitchen knife. When I hear roses in the creepypasta, it just reminds me, especially a bad creepypasta nonetheless, it reminds me of that scene from the movie The Room, when Tommy Wiseau walks into the store and he's like, "Can I have a dozen red roses, please?" And he buys the roses, and it's like a 30-second scene of him shopping, and it's like, then he sees a dog on the cash register place. I don't know what counter or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, hi, doggy." You know what? The Room is much better than this story. I'd rather watch The Room than read this. I'd rather watch frickin' Food Fight than read this. Yeah, the movie that has a 35-minute scene of just looping animation. This isn't a Godzilla movie. You can't use the same cuts again. Only Japan can do that. Idiot. Attached to the mask, there was also a note. "Jane, I'm sorry I messed up. We're trying to make you beautiful, so I gave you a mask that will let you seem beautiful until you get better. Also, you forgot your knife. I thought you would want it back." Jeff. But the time Nurse Jackie came back, the present was hidden under my bed. It moves on its own now because you're in like a coma. I told her that I don't even care. That all there was the flowers. Idiot. She seemed to be disgusted by them, so she threw them out. I thanked her for that. That night, yes, because they're black roses. It was racism. That night, when everyone was either asleep or gone home, I sneaked out. "Are you stupid? This is a hospital. This isn't Happy Death Day. You can't sneak out of a hospital without someone noticing." The only thing I had to wear was that dress. So I put it on and found a pair of shoes outside in the hallway, forgotten by some careless nurse. I wore the wig to look less inconspicuous. Oh my, this writing is so bad, it makes the author look stupid. Like, I don't even, oh thank God, I just scrolled down, I'm almost done. I didn't know where I was going and I didn't care. When I finally stopped walking, I was in front of a cemetery. I went inside and found two tombstones. Isabel, Arkansas, and Gregory, Arkansas. She didn't go to the funeral. Stupid bitch. I sat down in front of their tombstones and cried once more. When I finally sat up, the sun was beginning to rise, and so was a new chapter in my life. Chapters don't rise, you idiot. You know what? I shouldn't be surprised by this and by now. I've been reading for like an hour. I took the mask and put it on, then picked up the knife and held it as tightly as I did before. Then I turned around and looked at the rising sun. I don't know. I don't even know. I was gonna say and looked for the rising sun, but I'm stupid. Not as stupid as the idiot who wrote this, but I'm stupid nonetheless. On that day, I swore my revenge against Jeff the Killer and donned, D-O-N-N-E-D, my new name, Jane Everlasting. You know what? Donald frickin' Trump. It should be dawned. Jane Everlasting. Or I don't even know. I've never really read the word donned in a story. For I want the only thing to be more everlasting for Jeff than his madness to be his death. That's stupid. Ever since the day I have been trying to find Jeff and kill him. You have my daughter! Freaking, this sounds like a movie like Taken. This sounds like some sort of action movie now. This is stupid. Hunting him. New paragraph. Hunting him like the animal he is. New paragraph. I will find you, Jeff, and I will kill you. In bold and italics. As for the photo that has been popping up of me saying, don't go to sleep, you won't wake up. That pretty much explains what I want to do with Jeff's victims. Prevent them from being victims in the first place. Whoever said that I killed them so they don't get killed by Jeff is a gross overstatement. You know what? You're a stupid idiot. You're freaking. Your IQ is probably like, I don't know, like 2. Cause you're freaking right, like you're 2. Finally, the last paragraph. Oh, thank God! If this voiceover doesn't work, I'm going to be so pissed off. So this is my story. Whether you accept it as fact is not up for me to decide. Now, if you excuse me, the sun is going down and the hunt is beginning once more. Then end. You know what I thought of this story? It's a masterpiece. No, it isn't. It really isn't. This is if not the stupidest story I've ever read. It might not be the worst, but just the amount of length and effort the author wrote, just the length of the story is unbearable to read. This is like reading a Stephen King novel. Except Stephen King books are pretty good. This is horrible. This is such a bad story. I hate it. And what's the lesson here? It's like, oh, look at my photoshopped picture of freaking Jane the Killer. Have you seen that picture? She doesn't even look human. Like if you see her face in it, it looks like a freaking lump. It doesn't even look like a face. It's so stupid. I hate this story so much.